In this video, let's understand what exactly is this generative AI and why is it so important in our day-to-day life. So let's start by understanding what is generative AI. Now, generative AI, we call it as a branch of AI. Here, this focuses on creating the new content. In the examples that I've spoke in the last video where I have spoken about the machine learning and deep learning. So the overall idea of machine learning and deep learning is to identify something or to detect something. But here in the case of generative AI, it's a special branch. Here, this focuses on creating the new content which it has not seen before. So in this case of generative AI, the special thing is it doesn't just analyze the existing data, but it generate the original output. Like an example, text, images, music, code, designs, and even the videos as well. So that's the power of generative AI. So because of this, we see the generative AI usage in a variety of industries. It's used in healthcare for patient help. It is used in customer service for helping the customers and interacting in the natural language. It is used in the consulting, where the consulting companies are using the chatbot or using these generative AI in order to summarize their past work so that they can pitch in the better work for the upcoming client. So it's used in each and every domain. So whether you are a technical person or a non-technical person, so the generative AI has got a huge potential when you start working in your project. So now that you have understood what is generative AI, let's understand how does this generative AI is going to work. So the first step that this generative AI model is going to do is first thing that we will do is we'll start by training the model on massive data set. So we'll train the model on massive data set so that we can recognize the pattern as well as the structure in the given data. Now, once the pre-training is completed, next we will use such learned pattern and generate the new content. Now, the best part is this generation aspect will be done by this generative AI model. So whatever the learning pattern that it has learned during the pre-training, it will use that learning pattern and generate the new content. Okay, and as and when we receive the output, so we'll also go ahead and perform the improvement on the generative AI model. So here when I say improvement, so this is like an iterative approach where we will have some kind of a feedback loop that will tell us how the output of this generative AI model would look like, and if there are any improvement we would go ahead and perform the improvement. So that's how the generative AI is going to work. Now that you have understood how does it actually work and what is generative AI, let's take a look into the types of generative AI model. When we describe the type of generative AI model, so we can call it as a generative adversarial networks. So this is one family of generative AI model. Here, this is a special family of neural network or a neural network from the deep learning aspect, where we are going to create two neural networks which will compete against each other. One will create a content and other will act as a judge which will judge its quality. I'll give you a very simple example to understand what exactly is this generative adversarial network. Think of it as there are two people. One is a thief, okay? The other one is a detective. Let's assume that this guy is a thief and this person, he is good in creating the forged painting, okay? The job of this thief is to create forged paintings. Okay, now what is the role of this detective? Let's assume that this detective specializes in identifying whether the painting is real or fake. Okay, so what would happen in the initial days of the thief? So he doesn't know how to create a forged painting. So he'll start creating the painting and then what he does is he'll not be successful in beating the detective. So he'll get caught multiple times. So as and when his experience improves, then he will find and he will acquire some new skill so that At the end of the day, maybe let's say after a few years, he comes up with a technique to create a painting which will help him to pass from the detective test. So that means he was able to successfully create a fake painting so that which will help him to pass from the detective as well. Now, obviously, the detective can be fooled once or twice. So what happens after once or twice? The detective also improves himself. So he will start improve himself as well, and he will start able to identify the new techniques that has been used by the thief. So even detective is going to improve himself. Now in parallel, since the detective is improving, even the thief is going to improve. So as you can clearly see, there's a kind of competition that is happening. The thief is trying to create the forge painting, which will pass from the detective, and he will improve upon himself. And detective is also getting himself improved so that whenever a new kind of forge paintings is appearing in the market, and he is able to detect it. Now, the same strategy is used inside this generative adversarial network. There will be two neural networks which will compete against each other. One will create the content just like Thief, and the other part of the neural network will act like a predictor which will judge the quality. Okay, this is the generative adversarial network. So from the examination standpoint, you just have to know what exactly is this generative adversarial network. That's all. Okay, now apart from this, variational autoencoder. Now, in the case of this variational autoencoder, so what it will do is it will learn the underlying probability distribution of the data to generate new samples. Now, what is probability distribution? I'll give you a very simple example. Let's say you have uh, you have the collection of data. Okay, I'll give you a very simple example. Let's assume that when you're rolling a dice, let's assume that you are rolling a single dice. Okay, when you're rolling a single dice, you'll get each and every time you'll get the output between 1 to 6, isn't it? So you will get the value as 1 to 6. Now, if you roll the dice multiple times, if you roll the dice multiple times, and each time you will note down as how many times that you got a specific value, and then you create some kind of a bar plot, you will get something like a probability distribution. Okay, so this bar plot, think of it as a probability distribution which describes the overall distribution of the data set. So variational autoencoders, what it is going to do is it will learn these kind of the probability distribution of the existing features of the data set, and based on that it will generate the new samples. So remember, it is going to refer to the probability distribution. That's all. That's all you need to remember from the examination standpoint when we talk about the variational autoencoders. Then this is very important. This is called as the transformer model. So we'll deep dive in the future section as well. But for now, remember that this is another architecture that comes under generative AI model, and this is especially powerful for text generation. So the GPT model, the BERT model that you would see, so they are all based on these transformer models. Then you also have another kind of model that's called as diffusion model. So in the case of this diffusion model, what it will do is in the back end, it will iteratively add the noise to the data set, and it will learn to reverse engineer. Okay, it will learn to reverse the process to generate the high quality images. So this is called as the diffusion models approach. So these are the various types of generative AI models that we see in our day-to-day life. So out of all these, which one is important? That's correct. It's the transformer models. This is very important from the examination standpoint. And you also have to remember about what exactly are these from the definition standpoint. Okay, so now that this is clear, let's move ahead and let's take a look into the applications of generative AI. Now, I want you to pause the video right now and think about where exactly have you seen the generative AI application in your day-to-day life. So go ahead and pause the video and list down the applications that you have seen so far. Perfect. I hope you have listed down some of the applications that you have seen in day-to-day life. Now, let me just name some of the commonly used applications of this generative AI. It's used in art and fashion, where you can use this generative AI to create the unique artwork, designs, and fashion. It can be used in writing and content creation. It can be generation of marketing copy, articles, and even poetry, music composition. It is used in healthcare. It can be used in code generation, customer service. So, as I've described in the initial video, the generative AI application is endless. It has got a huge potential, especially in the real world. All right, guys. So, what you have learned as part of your learning journey in this video is you have understood what is generative AI and what are the types of generative AI models. So, from the examination standpoint, I'm repeating here again, you have to know the definition of these four types of generative AI model. So, I hope you were able to follow along with me, guys. So, I'll stop the video over here and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much, guys, for watching till the end. So if you have liked the video, so go ahead and check out our full course on AWS Certified AI Practitioner. So I hope you are able to resonate with my way of teaching. So I'll see you on the class one. Take care, guys.